Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti, and going to be joined today, and very happily so, by Ashley Malou in just a couple of seconds. Sorry to say that, I always called her the wrong name. There is Ashley. Ashley, fast-made track firm turf course, day one of the spring-summer meet.
Yeah, I hope it stays this way, Ron. When I was walking over to the studio, I did see some clouds out there, but we had a couple days off and now ready for another meet to start here at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah, ready to go. We got an 8-race card this afternoon. As I mentioned at the top, we got a fast-made track firm turf course. Got a couple of interesting races today. Got a couple of pick fives and, of course, a couple of pick fours, along with the Rainbow Six with $250,000. But let's take a look at Ashley's first early pick five ticket today.
Yeah, let's hope we can get hot early here with just a $24 play. I went too deep here in this first race on the card, the $16,000 maiden claiming event. Thought two horses stood out, and already looking at the betting public, you can see that those two horses are the 7 and the 9. Then in race 2, I thought it was going to be a showdown between two runners in there, the 2 Hercules and the 3 Cezanne. Spread in race 3, that's where my long shot comes in. We'll talk about him a little bit later, the number 11 Farmstrong. And in those last 2 legs, I went too deep in both of those. Thought it was affordable and a nice way to maybe get started here.
Yeah, $24, very affordable. And I started off, I don't know which horse you put on top, but I did go with the number 7 horse in here, Miss Ghislaine, who's dropping a notch, checking off just had some really keen early interest in its last race. Going to go back and just show you this horse early on in its race. It just looks like this horse a little rank into going. You're going to see it there, of course, being the number 9 that day. And just a little rank, and you're going to see it just has to steady, just trying to get that position, and then you just switch to the top of the stretch. I thought this horse just ran an okay fourth, showed some late interest, looked like this horse was still learning, and I thought maybe had a shot today to run a little bit better this afternoon. I don't know if you put that one on top or the 9 horse.
We agree. We're here with the 7. I thought that first race, I mean, it was a decent effort. I would have liked to seen a little bit more, but 5th beaten by 2 lengths, not too bad, kind of considering the trip that she did get. I just think the barn with these maidens second time out, winning at 19%, hard to ignore this horse. And for me, this is one of 2 that kind of stood out on top.
Yeah, ridden by Joe Bravo this afternoon. Now, the other horse that you used on your ticket was the 9 Tammy's Orchid, who's hoping to get away from the gate a little sharper today. Broke 10 lengths behind the field last time out, prior to finishing second at this level in distance for Barclay Tagg. Got Paco Lopez in the saddle today, a strong finisher. And I like horses like Barclays that have a race and then come back and run okay.
Yeah, it seemed like a little bit of the drop in class kind of helped her in her most recent race here on February 5th. But I thought the big thing was she did give the field a sizable advantage early on and still had some late running to do. I'd like to see her put in this race a little bit earlier. You see Paco's in the saddle. I don't think that will be a problem. I still think she will be closing from off the pace. And now you're thinking 3rd start off the layoff. She does have some room for improvement.
The number 3, Bell's Kingdom, is dropping to the $16,000 level after facing those state-bred special weight runners in both previous races, both previous turf races for Kelsey Danner. It was pretty solid. If you go back and look, she's 5 for 14, 36%, with similar class drops. So I think maybe the drop in competition, you had this one a little further down on your ticket. That's Bell's Kingdom. I thought can run well, and you put in 3rd, the number 1 Dispense.
Yeah, Bell's Kingdom, I think, kind of moving from that maiden special weight to maiden claiming ranks. That's the big thing. And I do think in the debut, which was her better race, in my opinion, of the 2, even just looking at the buyer, it was stronger. It was going 7.5. She had problems out of the gate, but she was making up some ground, so I did have to use her here, but I just did think that Dispense on the rail for trainer Nick Gonzalez. Last time out, it was her best race. Buyer wasn't a huge improvement, but she was kind of making some ground up late. She did miss by half a length. It was at this level. It was going a mile. I did think, too, she would offer a little bit more on the tote board than the 3, which is why I kind of elevated her on my tickets.
Let's go to race number 2 this afternoon. A mile allowance. This is for state-bred 3-year-olds. And you went, and I did too, with the number 3, Cezanne, who was just beating a length, went second on the main track against those 50 starter optional claimers 2 starts back. Goes back to the dirt, failed to fire when trying the turf last time out.
Yeah, I drew a line through that February 20th effort on the grass. I don't think he wanted any part of the turf. I think a repeat effort to 2 back going a mile puts him pretty much in front here. I do think the horse to his inside is probably his biggest competitor, and I see you agree with that, Ron. But, this one loves Gulfstream Park, has yet to miss the board over the main track, and this is a great spot to see him get back on the dirt.
Let's show you a stat with Ralph Nix. With turf to dirt, just all levels, just flat out. He's 31 for 129, pretty solid, 24%, 53% in the money. $2.24 is the return of investment. So good numbers with the turf to dirt move for Ralph Nix. I actually like him when he runs his horses better on the dirt. And Hercules, Prilly, he came up strong last time out when returning from the layoff to defeat those 25 optional claimers at the distance. Notched his second consecutive victory at the distance for Juan Alvarado. Edgar Zayas in the saddle today.
Yeah, back-to-back wins here. You mentioned the layoff, and then to come back off the layoff with such a nice performance is really eye-catching. I think he's a logical horse to use on top. And, last time out, he had to step up a little bit in class, but, kind of the trip that he got up in time. He drew clear by a length and a quarter. I think he's the main rival in here.
I have the number 4 just on the ticket. Just though it's so subtle. The number 4 broke his maiden impressively at the distance 2 starts back. He dropped. He showed some early interest. He faded, when stepping up. They tried to fountain the youth with this horse last time out from under De La Cerda. Miguel Vasquez in the saddle. And I went back and looked at this last race. Well, it said get out. I didn't really see it. I just think this horse was dueling for the lead and then just basically packed it in for the day.
Yeah, the Fountain of Youth race, I have to just kind of put a line through it. I mean, it's such steep competition in that field. Greatest Honor, we just saw him in the Florida Derby, finished third. There's not much to take away from it. He finished last in that race, but his maiden win was really strong going a mile in the dirt here. So I actually, if I had to use him, it was between him and the 5. I just knew that the top 3 were going to be short prices, Ron.
Well, this is not an April Fool's joke. We're actually taking a break after race 2 and coming back with the Rainbow 6. We're dealing with this 8-race card today, so we'll be right back.
In the 2-path. Ground off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Ron and Ashley here with Main Track is Fast, the turf course is firm. And as I mentioned at the top, only dealing with an 8-race card on opening day. Just we won't have many 8-race cards, but just getting our feet wet in the opening day of the spring summer meet, I should say. And I did have a $43.20 ticket because we have a nice jackpot guarantee of $250,000. And I did go 2 deep in here with the number 3, Alonzo Mosley, and the number 7, Moonshine Now. And I got an interest in the 4, Fear the Deer, but I did not use that one on my ticket. 3 deep in race number 4 with Anano Astray, Happy Champ, and Quick Step Ed. And in race number 4, just 2 deep, I think Brindbella is the one to beat there. Race number 6 got my long shot in the afternoon. That's Something Special. Anthony Pecoraro, I thought that horse ran pretty good. And then I got some coverage in race number 7 with Ganglion Northern. And then the last, I think the race goes through number 9, Coach Paul. Had some trouble at the quarter pole last time out. Interested to see how you started off race number 3.
Well, with a long shot, 15 to 1 shot on top, Ron. I like your 2 horses here. I think the 3 and the 7 were logical, but I was trying to find some value throughout the card. The 11, that's Farm Strong. I thought the effort last time out at the 16,000 level. I know he's going to step up today and return to the $25,000 maiden claiming level, but that sort of trip, that sort of number, he just missed by a head. They actually kind of went slow in that race for a mile and a 16th, and I think you'd benefit from some pace. Here at Gulfstream Park, he's in the money from half of his turf starts. I think kind of looking at him in the past, the $25,000 level, he had a good third. It was all the way back in June of 2020. I know it was far back, but off his most recent, I mean, if he can kind of replicate that, I think he's in the hunt, and he's going to be a price, I think.
A good spot to go and try and find a price play. Like I was saying, I also have the 4, Fear the Deer on my ticket 21. We'll talk about that horse in a minute. But Alonzo Mosley, this one changing barns, going to the Joe Orsino barn, is a 4-year-old gelded son of Tonalist. Drop it to the 25 level. You got to just go back and show you this horse is having a little bit of trouble after having to steady soon after leaving the gate last time out. Alonzo Mosley is the number 4. full horse in this race and just has to, just slam on the brakes. And it's tough to get your momentum going up. Just couldn't find it. And if you followed that race through further on, sort of just always looking for a place to run and then just, show some interest in the end. I wish this horse would have closed a little bit better, had that trouble on top. But Paco Lopez is going to ride today, so sort of giving him a little excuse. And he just closes now, finishes, like I said, that so-so fourth. Looks like he finally figured out things when he changed leads and ended up fourth in that race.
Yeah, he put it together late there. I do think kind of what happened early on in the race cost him some, maybe not that much, but it definitely did kind of affect his performance. Now he's going to drop in for the lowest tag of his career. You mentioned the new barn change and, the new rider on him. There's a lot of changes for him that I think can help him kind of elevate him in this spot.
The number 7, Moonshine Now, a 4-year-old son of Malibu Moon, is dropping to this level in the first start since finishing third. It was against those maiden special weight runners. That was a good race. It was 1 mile and 7 yards, but it was on the Delaware turf last September. So coming back for Christophe Clement.
There wasn't much of a change in that race, too. I watched the replay at Delaware. I mean, the winner went gate to wire in that race. It was a bit of a price, an upset, I think around 9 to 10 to 1. He finished third. It was a good performance. Clearly kind of woke up some moving onto the turf. I just think the big thing here, too, is we're going from maiden special weight now to maiden claiming level. Christophe Clement, 44% from a sample size of 16. Another logical play in here. And for me, I kind of gave him a little bit of the edge over Alonzo Mosley.
Yeah, and number 4, Fear the Deer, is you had a long shot in here. I mentioned is 20 to 1 on the morning line. This one changing barns, going to the Larry Bates barn. He's the son of Declaration of War, exits the same race as Alonzo Mornley last time. And I look at improvement. I thought it was a useful career debut at the distance. I'm not afraid of anybody in this race. And ridden today by Edwin Gonzalez, who's joining us here this summer. He had 3 wins on Sunday. He wins 30% of the time up there at Penn National. So a little bit of a play here at 20 to 1 with Fear the Dare.
Yeah, the rider change is what would kind of, be something interesting to look at here. You mentioned Edwin. He had a great first weekend here. He actually was second in a stakes race on Saturday, which is a nice way to get started. I'm sure he would have loved to win, but a nice second in the Sir Shackleton. Looking at this horse was a pricey purchase, a son of Declaration of War for $230,000 out of the Keeneland September sale in 2018. I definitely agree here. I mean, if you're kind of on those top 2 horses, you have to look value underneath, and this is one that I could see using for a piece.
Race number 4 this afternoon, 1 mile claimer. These are 3 and up, non-winners of 2 in life. The $12,500 down to $10,000, and we both went with the number 5, and Ano Estrella, stretching out to the mile. Couple of solid sprints in this horse's resume.
Very solid. I think last time out, was second, beaten by 4 lengths, a little bit more than, a length of defeat compared to his other effort, but he was stepping up out of the 62.50, non-winners of 2 lifetime, in for the 12.5. Beyer came back strong. I think the winner was just kind of much the best on that performance. It was going 7/8. It played well to speed, and he was trying to close from, sitting off of it. To me, this was the horse to kind of beat in this race.
The number 2, Happy Champ, is stepping up to face winners after responding in the first race after the claim by Peter Walder and the addition of Lasix last time out. Just blew the doors off the competition with that 12-length victory against 16 maidens going a mile. That race was moved from turf to dirt. It's Peter. This is what he does.
Yeah, I can't ignore Peter Walder horses, especially in that first kind of start when you see him kind of run off the page and, run off the screen. The barn has been red hot for the championship meet and these claiming games, everything. And second off this sort of a layoff, they're firing like 20-25%. So I had to use this one. I think last time out kind of was a wake-up call in the class relief help, and this is the next logical spot for him to race back.
We have our 3rd and 4th picks. Flip-flop, you went with the number 6 in here, Peruvian Dancer.
Yeah, this is going to be first off the claim for Mary Epler, who does a good job first off the claim, 17%. She wins at, I think, last time out. It wasn't a great effort at this 12.5 level, beaten by 4 lengths. Took some play in there. I would have liked to seen more, but it was going 6 furlongs. And I think if you look at the effort 2 back, going a mile, it was a speed favoring race. Dropped anchor, ended up winning that race, but finished second, beaten by 3 lengths. I think if we can replicate a performance like that, Peruvian Dancer has a shot. Paco's in the saddle. I think we're going to see this one maybe a little bit closer to the pace than last time out, and that might make the difference.
The number 1, Quick Step Ed, is dropping to the lowest level ever after shipping up to Tampa and finishing third against those 25 2 lifetime claimers, going 6 furlongs, 2 for 2 in the money at a mile. I have, for years now, I've been trying to translate form from up at Tampa to form down here in South Florida. I just thought on the drop, and I guess you did too, that maybe behind an Ano Estrella and Happy Champ for Peter Walder. These two horses might have had a chance to grab a share.
He's kind of consistent and kind of getting those shares underneath. I mean, looking at his record, 6 for 10 in the money. Obviously, still looking for that second lifetime win, which is a little bit of a concern for me because I think he's had some chances. The biggest thing for using him underneath rather than higher up is just he's had those breaks. He's had a couple of breaks where they're several months at a time. We'll see him race, then we won't see him. Last time out, finished third at Tampa. That's 25,000. I do think this is a good spot for him to come here to Gulfstream Park. I just want to take a wait and see approach.
Race number 5 this afternoon is going to be a 5-furlong turf sprint. These are maiden claimers. Fillies and mares 3 and up, $16,000. And this kicks off our final pick 4 of the afternoon. And you've had a couple of really nice pick 4s over the last couple of days. Come home and I know you went out and bought some new furniture after hitting those couple of pick 4s.
I did. Hopefully I can cash a big one here so I don't have to assemble it myself, Ron. But no,
I've been there.
It's a really fun time. But I thought looking at the pick 4 sequence, I came just with a $16 ticket. I think we're really similar in the nightcap. It's a spread race, but here I was between 2 horses, the 4, Bryn Bella, my top selection, and the 5, Buxom Beast, who I have some reservations about, but know that this one does have early foot. Then in race 6, I went to 2 deep. My best bets in here, that's going to be the number 5, Bean Counter for Todd Pletcher, getting some major class relief today. Then in race 7, I think this is similar to you, Ron. I think Ganglion Northern, they look like the top 2 in the start of the late double. And then finally, race 8, I do think Coach Paul looks extremely tough, but I did like some other horses, and I just decided since I was playing a light ticket, let's spread and hopefully can maybe get a price in that last leg to close it out.
Yeah, I like the fact that you use outdoor dining. I think that one's a little bit of a price, if I remember correctly. So certainly good ticket. And in race number 5, Bryn Bella certainly dropping to the 16 level, turning back to 5 furlongs after showing that speed and getting caught late against better, going around 2 turns on the turf. 4, Kelly Breen, who had a really nice championship meet. Embassy El Jaramillo handling the first ever try at this 5 furlong distance. So had a couple of concerns about that.
Couple of concerns I think is probably a fair assessment. I mean, they were at a mile and a 16th, 2 starts back. I thought it was a decent effort, was kind of close to the pace, finished third, beaten by a length and a half, map them up, ended up winning that one by half a length. And then next time out in that first start for Kelly Breen, this horse, wasn't favored like 2 starts ago, took some action, but really just didn't have anything left in the cutback. And now we're cutting back more in distance. I just wonder, kind of looking at, her form, if she's just going to be closer to it and hope to be able to carry it kind of, to the end.
And you were right about Georgina Baxter. This horse Buxom Beast, going to have some speed today. Going back to the turf, returned from about a 7-month layoff to set the pace. Finished 4th. I thought that was a good screw-tightening return. Was claim protected in that race. Couldn't be claimed in that 16 sprint move from turf to dirt.
Maybe they were a little afraid about losing her, and that's why they did that. Seeing it was scheduled for the turf and moved to the dirt. The time of the race, nothing that flashy for that level at all. I mean, it wasn't a fast race, and she, this one did tire, which is why I have reservations. Now, second time out, I would think some improvement and maybe the surface change will help, but this is one that I decided to use underneath. Just kind of looking at those figures, they haven't been that strong compared to other runners, but also with that said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Paco and Buxom Beast go to the front and hang on and kind of take them gate to wire.
Yeah, Georgina Baxter, as I mentioned, pretty solid with the grass to dirt angle, like 24% in that race. You did go with the number 6 horse in here. Winnipeg, one of the horses I did not use on my ticket.
The record at Gulfstream Park over the turf course, not eye-catching, just 1 third-place finish from 5 attempts here. Last time out, didn't take any play, was kind of forced to the pace early on, going a mile, now cutting back to 5 furlongs. That was kind of something I was considering because I look at those other turf races when in the Ralph Nix barn, this one showed speed, and I thought could maybe press the horse just to her inside. But the other thing I was looking at, the trainer-jockey combo, Ron, really hot here at Gulfstream Park, 27%. Edgar Zayas going to climb aboard for just the second time in this filly's career. I think that might be a little bit of a wake-up call for this one.
Number 3, #Lucky, breaks from an improved post today after departing from an outside slot. That was post 11, finishing a track to pace 4th at this level and distance. Antonio Sano, Leonel Reyes, another trainer that had a really sharp championship meet. Leonel Reyes, one of my favorites for bringing home long shots. I don't know what this horse is, not much of a long shot. 3rd choice on the board. I just thought that this horse cutting back getting an improved post would help this horse this afternoon.
Yeah, it was kind of strung out there last time, and I wouldn't want that going 5 furlongs on our turf course. Overall, was a big price on that occasion. I obviously going to be more respected today off of that performance and kind of stacking this filly up to the rest of the field. I did use this one towards the bottom in my 4th spot. just thinking the post position would help, and now just the second time sprinting on the grass.
Let's flip the page, go to race number 6, a mile on the turf. Claimers, fillies, and mares 4 and up. Non-winners of a race since October 1st. $16,000. Did have a scratch in here of number 6, Aerodynamic, who was, I think, high on the board. I think second choice on the board. I got my long shot in here. I'm glad you used this horse in third, and that's something magical. 10-1 on the morning line. Going to break from the rail after shaking off some early trouble. Had a steady in that race. Reached the lead at the 8 pole before finishing second at this level and distance. It was an okay performance. Anthony Pecoraro has got Paco Lopez topped this inside speed play for me. It's just a shot. I saw a chance to get some money here. 10-1. Maybe this one can do it.
You love this horse. You took all my talking notes. We're on the same page. I just thought the effort last time out, you said it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. Beat Aerodynamic. We mentioned the scratch, who I thought was a logical play in here underneath. A hard-trying horse, always getting those minor shares. I think, having that inside draw is going to be key here. And you see the rider once again teaming up with Paco. The barn kind of on the year, they've done all right. So this one, I like staying at this level and distance. I think this is the right move. And it was just a much improved performance, from those other efforts here. A couple of them were sprinting. I think this horse does want to go longer on the turf and maybe can put it together here.
Well, the number 5 Bean Counter is your best bet of the afternoon. Let me think. Todd Pletcher, I can understand that today. Dropping into the 16 dated claimer. Much easier spot.
Much easier than that last effort. He was beaten by 2 lengths in the end. Was an outsider in that spot, too. And I think this horse needed the class relief. Kind of just looking at the career of this 5-year-old mare. One thing I don't like, 7 tries here at Gulfstream Park, and just always the bridesmaid. Has those 3 second-place finishes. But looking at some of those grass efforts, she's kind of fared better, especially in New York when she was closer to the pace. I don't really know, and here kind of looking at, there are some horses that want to be forwardly placed, what the strategy will be. The big thing, though, the class relief. She did have a mild kick last time out, but she's still going to need more than she's shown us the last 2 times here at Gulfstream.
Well, the horse I have in third, you have in second, Sandrift, 4-time local turf winner, returns and drops into this non-winners of a race, as we mentioned, since October 1st, facing open claimers in the pair up there at Tampa. Saffy Joseph Jr., Joe Bravo, first win since September 3rd, so fits this condition perfectly.
She has the opposite issues of Bean Counter. Loves it here at Gulfstream, 4-time winner over the turf course. I think a mile and an eighth. 2 starts back, I would have said it was a good distance for her. Last time out, she just kind of fell flat late. I don't like that she was favored in both of those races. I understand why she was, but you still would have liked to seen more from her at Tampa. I will say the winner last time out, Bella Priena, came back to win next time out, so that's a positive sign. I just thought here, cutting back to a mile, she likes this distance. She likes the turf course. Another trainer hard to ignore, had a great championship meet here. For me, this was kind of the second best horse on paper.
Yeah, and just read the condition book perfectly. Hasn't won. This one won in September. You couldn't win past October, so very good. I like when I see that. 7th race this afternoon, 5.5 furlongs, allowance optional claimers, state bred 4 and up. They could run for that optional claiming tag of $12,500. We both have the number 1 Gangly on top of our ticket, and I just thought this one turning back to 5.5 faced considerably tougher in races going from 6 to 8 furlongs.
Definitely. Last time out was favored but failed. That was going a mile. Now going to go 5.5, I think, is the key. This one does have early foot, but not that much. I still think, you're cutting back here, so they have options with him. The effort 2 back here, going 7/8 was a pretty big effort just to miss by half a length behind Blessed Journey. Paco on the rail. It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds in here, but to me, Gangly and Northern were the top 2.
We got a stat on Bob Hess Jr. with horses just going route to sprint on the dirt overall. He's 16 for 81, 20%, 44% in the money, and still a positive return of investment, $2.33. A horse we know very well around here is the number 4 horse in here, and that is Northern, who's stepping up the competition. A couple of sharp 6,250 sprints since he was claimed by who else but Peter Walder. Turns back to 5.5 furlongs after that pace-setting score going 3/4.
He's hard to ignore every time he races here, Ron. He's like one of those horses, he loves it here. He's fast. He doesn't necessarily need the lead to be part of it, but last time out, he took them gate to wire, and he's been a hot commodity on the circuit. I mean, look at the number of times he's been claimed. He's gone back to barns. They've wanted him back. And now I do think you have to step him up out of that 62.50 and see if he can kind of hang at the 12.5 level, and I think in this spot today, if anyone's going to beat Gangley, it's going to be Northern.
Number 7, Man of Mission, goes to the Sandra Matier barn after the claim turns back, chased and finished 4th behind that repeat winner. High Heater going 7 was the 4-5 favorite that day.
Yeah, it was well defeated, 9.5 lengths. I don't love that performance. It was a short field. It was in for the 12-5 tag. Just kind of looking at the way the race unfolded, I think that was the hard thing for him, kind of chasing and not being on the front. But if you look at the effort 2 back, it was at the 62.50 level. Look at the buyer number, Ron. It's 84. I mean, that would put him in kind of the mix with the other 2 horses I talked about. But we'll see what the barn can do first time off the claim. They win at 12%, which is a decent number. And now he's going to cut back to the shortest race in his career.
You're using the number 5 unpublished on your ticket, written today by Edgar Zayas.
Had to go for a price underneath. I feel like it was chalk, but kind of looking at this horse, second time off the layoff, I thought this one could at least get a minor share in here. You see that race 3 back at the 5.5 furlong distance. Yes, it was in mid-October. It was at Gulfstream Park West against those $25,000, but he won by 3 lengths, and he was kind of closer to the pace than he was last time out. Maybe he needed a race off the layoff. We'll see what he can do here, but I just think minor shares at best.
We'll go to race number 8 this afternoon, final race on the card. We just have the one scratch as we went on the air for the number 14 and the change, jockey change in the 3 to Victor LeBron. About 7.5 on the turf. These are maiden claimants, 3-year-olds and up, $16,000. And Coach Paul is hoping for clear sailing today. Let's go back before we talk about it. Show you this horse's last race around the quarter pole. Just has to steady sharply here. Number 8 that day, and we'll just let it run. And he just has nowhere. He's got to find somewhere to go in this particular spot. So, and we'll just follow to the wire. I thought he ran very well to finish second. Ended up only being beaten a length that day.
Very good performance. When they found somewhere to go, it just happened to be kind of in the middle of the track. And in that turn, he had to go really wide, but did make up ground late even despite all of that happening. I think, a performance like that today without traffic, he's probably your winner. I know you agree, Ron. To me, he was kind of one of those horses that just stood out in this race, but kind of looking at the horses underneath, I see that you like outdoor dining. I thought this was a sneaky horse to use in the spot, stretching out, and definitely going to be a better price than Coach Paul.
Yeah, he's stretching out for making his first journey actually around 2 turns after a couple of so-so efforts, going 5 in the grass against similar quality. Kent Sweezy has impressive rider, as we mentioned. Edwin Gonzalez handling the added real estate today. Oh, maybe this horse with the stretch out to about 7, which if you're not aware is around 2 turns here for the people out there following us for the first time at Gulfstream Park. Let's thought maybe this horse can be closer to the pace today. Use the number 8 Under Fire on your ticket.
I just thought the effort 2 back, if he can kind of replicate that was at the $25,000 level, was dead last early on, spotted the field some distance there, and came running late to finish 5th, beaten by 4 lengths. I think kind of looking at the numbers and how the race panned out, kind of a slow race as well. I mean, they went 25-1 to that opening quarter. Not much to go off of from there for him to make up that ground. I think a little bit of a quicker pace and being in the race earlier, now shortening up 7.5, but still going those 2 turns. I think he's sneaky. I didn't like the effort last time out when Jose Ortiz was aboard him. He took more play in that spot. He was very, very kind of weird early on in the race. He was kind of fighting a bit, and then he fell flat. So hopefully they have him figured out from that most recent race, and he can go back to what he did 2 starts back.
Well, both of us hope the number 10, Charlie, can do something today, stretching out to almost a mile distance. Return from layoff, finished 3rd, going 5 for Kelsey Dana. Angel Arroyo topped this gelded son of Shanghai Bobby. Interested to see how this horse handles the stretch out today.
That's the big thing. I think this horse has needed more ground and is finally going to get that. I think if you look at the effort 2 starts back, going 5 furlongs in early December, he would have loved more ground on that event. I mean, he was kind of rolling late to finish 5th, beaten by 3 1/4, and just kind of looked down his past performances, even his races at Arlington Park. They've suggested more ground would be nice, and now he's going to get it, and now 2nd time off the layoff.
Well, that's how we see the 8-race card this afternoon, but we're not done yet. We're going to go to the ever-popular lightning round, and we're going to kick it off. We're going to take a little look back at the final standings of the championship meet. And it's just amazing to see this when you look at what Arad Ortiz Jr. was able to do with 140 victories, of course, to break the record.
It was really impressive. I talked to him after he tied the record. I loved what he said about, he had to thank everyone here, right? The claiming horses, the stakes horses, and then to, surpass the record with no agenda. Not a bad way to do it, Ron.
Yeah, just incredible. Phil Janek of our racing office, of our media office, put together. He had like 3 5-win days, a couple of 6-win days. It's just amazing. Paco Lopez, of course, in second with 98. Tyler, a real good meet with 95. And you see Luis Saez, who left a little earlier. He had some places to run. And, of course, he won the Dubai World Cup. And Edgar Zayas, really good meet with 74.
Yeah, they did a great job. Great job overall. And, Edgar Zayas is going to be here for the spring-summer meet. Well, I think we'll see him back in the kind of leading standings here.
And the trainer standings had no real great shakes here. Todd Pletcher winning his, I believe, 17th or some number like that training title here with 58 wins. But look at Safi right behind him at 50 wins.
Yeah, they kind of spread out by 8 and 8. It's like a common number kind of, separated them here. Safi had a great meet. He had a nice kind of wins over the weekend. And Todd, like you said, I think it is number 17. I think I would lose count by that time, Ron.
Yeah, all of you see the top 5. Bill Mott, just an incredible meet. I mean, Bill, you just don't see him getting 27 wins usually at the championship meet. Starts a little slower. He just had a fantastic meeting. So congratulations to all of you owners and trainers, and jockeys and trainers, of course, owners. So a great meet it was. And then we started this first bet, which is so interesting. You got so many different angles you can use with first bet, and they just decided to put a tutorial up, which I think will help people. You got some stuff that you can massage into these to get some really good statistics. So you need help, just go to the first bet to download the tutorial. I think it's going to help a lot.
Definitely. You mentioned all these angles and statistics. You know me, Ron. I love numbers. I spent 6 years in college studying math, and I think it's really intriguing. And I think the big thing is just go on the app, kind of look at the tutorial, and learn how to use it. And I think it's a really powerful tool.
Yeah, I'm in trouble after 20 because that's how many fingers and toes I have. So I'm going to lean on you to help me out with all the numbers. I am not too good in math. But I tell you what, I know somebody. I know the number 3. I know that one. And we were mentioned in this jockey a little earlier. We sort of teased it with Edwin Gonzalez, who's just been an incredible rider. You mentioned was second in the stake on Saturday, and they had a 3-win Sunday. It was pretty nice. We're going to just show you that performance, him coming down the stretch. So Edwin Gonzalez going to spend the summer here. Last 3 years, he's won 30% of his races up at Penn National.
He's done a tremendous job up there. Excited to have him here in the Colony. With that race aboard Fat Man, nice to see him back in the winner's circle. 103 buyer in that race, Ron, and looks like he's going to team up here a little bit with Kent Sweezy today, we mentioned in the nightcap.
Yeah, so we'll see how he does. He's going to have a good summer here. We got some really interesting new jockeys we'll be talking about. They got a lot of 10-pound apprentices, 7-pound apprentices joining us here for the summer campaign, but Edwin Gonzalez certainly a standout there. And I know you've probably seen him ride a couple of times up at Laurel. Edwin. So, I just was looking at his records, just amazing. And one other thing I wanted to mention, I just found this interesting. It's America's Best Racing. They got this new thing. It's going to be called Beyond the Goggles, and they're starting it off with the one and only John Velasquez. It's basically the life of jockeys after they leave the track. So, John Velasquez, one of my buddies, I just can't wait to see this. And you just got to go on to the americasbestracing.net, click on it, and see that first podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be great for fans, kind of take them behind the scenes. I mean, we think about jockeys, we know what they do at the track, but what do they do outside of that? And I know one thing that John's really, stressing and wants to encourage fans is to support the PDJF. I mean, that's a big reason he kind of was doing this and was really, motivated to do it. And it seems like it's going to be a good thing. And I'm going to definitely tune into these things. I love it.
Yeah, it's great to see, and you're absolutely right. He is one of the biggest, nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. And he cares about the horses, the jockeys, and everybody else. So that's how we see the lightning round. Ashley, I almost called you Acacia, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it the whole meet. It was hard not to do. Of course, Acacia gone for the summer, but Ashley, more than better stand up today. You did a great job.
Thanks, Ron. It was a lot of fun.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path.